Okay, very good. Thanks, Phil. Good morning. My name is Scott Anton. I'm with Gideon Taylor, and we're just kind of acting as the hosts for this session. The intent is to allow for folks, obviously, to talk about any questions you guys might have, challenges you might have with regards to Ben Admin, prepping for open enrollment this year, anything that you guys would want to open up to the floor. Just as a bit of background, Gideon Taylor has been supporting PeopleSoft clients since 2001. We provide a whole host of PeopleSoft services, including implementations, upgrades, ongoing managed services, cloud hosting. And then we also have a suite of very powerful automation tools, including GTE forms, which some of you might be using, our IDA digital assistant, courtesy of our new Intracy division, and then also robotic process automation bots, leveraging UiPath technology via our Newbury Enterprise Services division. So that's just a quick introduction to Gideon Taylor. Myself, I've been involved in the PeopleSoft industry for about the past 20 years. I've been with Gideon Taylor for the past decade, and I'm just happy to be here this morning. So with that, we'll open it up. If you want to pose questions or comments in the chat here in Zoom, you're welcome to. We'll also be monitoring the chat in the conference tool. So whichever you are more comfortable with, you're welcome to use either one. Any questions to kick people off, or should we have Phil chat about some topics that he had lined up for this morning to maybe open up the conversation?
Okay, someone asks for me to share some of the gotchas that I've come up with. I think one of the first things that I would talk about was
enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
I'm going to try to mute people as we go along, but if you can go ahead and mute yourselves, that'd be fantastic. And then go ahead and come off mute if you want to pose a question to the group.
One of the first things that
participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise,
one of the first things that I learned early on was when you're doing benefits, you begin with the end in mind. So when you're designing your benefit plans, you want to design your plans based on what you think they're going to look like in self-service. And to go along with that is each year during open enrollment, those who are involved in actually configuring Ben Admin for open enrollment or life events should be involved in the front end when the benefits team is designing new benefit plans and new benefit offerings, so you can help guide their thinking to things that you can easily configure and not have to do a lot of customization. So being involved in the front end is very important. I can't tell you how many times I've had the people who are designing benefits come to me, a week before open enrollment, say they want to change something, and I have to scramble around to fix that. So being involved in the front end is very, very important. The other thing I found recently in the last several open enrollment projects that I've done is I found that depending on what PUM you're on, there may be fixes in a future PUM that you may need to do your open enrollment. So be aware of that and look for those on the front end before you even start to see if there's anything in the future next PUM available to you that might fix a problem with the enrollment process. So those are a couple of gotchas that I know about that I would mention. Any other question? Anybody have any questions, or I'll continue with some other things that I have on open enrollment. Okay, we had a question. Does anybody have a custom process to complete live event instances? What I have seen some customizations like that. One of the things you can do is you might even put something in your force finalize to finalize some of the events. It's a continual problem where employees don't press the button to finalize their events when they're entering after they've done the enrollment. There is a button up front where they put the button at the top of the page on the fluid page, which helps a little bit. I have seen companies send an email out saying, hey, you've done the enrollment, but you haven't submitted. You're just in the notified status. Do you want to continue? So I think a custom email would be a good way to finalize that, where you tell the employee to finalize, because you don't know if they really do want to finalize it. So I wouldn't try and force that finalization. I would notify the employee with an email.
Hey, Phil.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Rosanna.
It's interesting. Thank you. It's interesting that you say that, because during our open enrollment, I have a process. We have like a window, like say like 2.5 weeks that they can go online and make their enrollment. And during that 2.5 weeks, I send reports to the benefits departments, I would say 3 times, of everyone that's in notified status, to let them know these are employees that have gone online, made their enrollment. They haven't submitted it. Let them know if they don't submit their enrollment, that their enrollment will revert back to their original enrollment. And then after we close open enrollment, I send them another report of everyone that has gone online and still in notified status that hasn't submitted. And we find it that though when we do that, the individual did actually forget to hit submit. And it's not that they were going back to make other enrollment. They just actually weren't aware that they were supposed to click submit. So that kind of works on our end, and it's very beneficial to send those extra emails.
Yeah, we're taking that same approach too at SMH that Rosanna does. We do a notified status report to the benefits team, and then they do some outreach themselves. And then we do a before finalization snapshot of all the elections made. And then after we finalize, we send an after, so that if someone does call, they have the backup that they really didn't submit.
Yeah, and in the past, once I think I did one time, there was a situation, like you said, Phil, I went in and I assumed the person wanted to keep their enrollment. And then I received an email saying the employee, I didn't decide, I didn't really want to keep my enrollment. So I don't recommend like being kind and going on behalf of the employee and doing it.
Yeah,
Because you'll get that one individual that comes to you, which I did. I was just shocked.
True.
I'm like, I'm just being nice. And they were like, no, I wasn't ready. I wanted to go back to my spouse. So I wouldn't recommend assuming that notified means that they want to keep it, even though there's a change.
Those are good suggestions. One of the things that I've also seen, yes, go ahead.
Hey, this is Tammy. I just wanted to say one of the things we're looking at for the roadmap is we're going to create the ability, and you can do it yourself because it happens in Activity Guide, but we're going to create a sample of where an administrator can go into the life event and then actually close the event as well. So, you get notified, oh, I didn't do it, or, it's been, 30 days after the event's been, reached. And so you can go in there and close those. So we're going to actually do that in life events. So it would give the administrator the ability to go into the life event as well. So, but that's on the roadmap, but you can do it. Activity Guide lets you do it. We do have a small fix that we're going to have to put in to make it work, but you could do that as well. So just so you know, that's on the roadmap, because we have a lot of people request that for the admin to be able to go in and close it. And the reason we don't automatically close those is we don't know how many more steps that you have in your life event. You could have other steps in there that we don't know about. So we don't know when to close it. And so that's the reason we don't have an automatic closure for it. And like Rosanna said, just like you, our Ouija board is broken. And so we can't determine when somebody really meant to take something up or not take something up. So just kind of wanted to give you that as some feedback.
I've seen also doing the force finalize process. When you some companies put a customization into force finalize terminations. And I've actually done a customization to add life events to that when they become older than 31 days, because the employee can enroll or should not be able to enroll in a life event or finish a life event enrollment if the past 31 days past the event. So you can do it that way as well after 31 days.
Go
ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say we're utilizing the force finalize at 31 days as well for a lot of our event classes. And it works nicely.
Did you build a custom table that you can update those events as opposed to hard coding those events at force finalize process?
I am not sure. I not the one that built it. I'm more on the functional side, but yeah, it's there is a custom process that we do have that does some things that we ask it to do separate
Right,
from
okay.
admin. Mhm.
See, Latham, it's kind of difficult. Like I've always this year I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how can I automate stuff as best as possible. And like I heard you guys had heard everyone speak about how they force finalize these events. The terminations we force finalize, but I have like new hire events and employees are past the 31 days. But I have rules in place that, like, say a beneficiary is a mandatory thing on life insurance, even though sometimes we have to kind of chase them down for that. Do you see the companies, even though like do you have an actual plan in place under this event that you're forced finalize and that you can just go ahead and just do? Like, what do you guys do around that particular situation?
I just did a project where the employees have benefits as of date of hire and other benefits that they have to enroll in within 30 days. For example, leave plans, you want to enroll those people in a leave plan on date of hire because the accrual starts on date of hire. This company also had 401k that was available date of hire. So we created a hire event for just defaulting those plans, and we force finalized that after the first day of employment, and then they had their regular hire enrollment that we also finalized after 30 days. So you can build force finalize into to do other things other than just finalizing terms. You just have to figure out what those things are and when you want them to actually terminate. It's not that difficult. I like to do it with the table driven, where you put the event in and the amount of days it stays open, and you use the table so you could modify it as you put in more events of various kinds. You might start out with just the basic 4 life events and add additional ones that you want to force finalize after 31 days as well. So that's
So
in
in that scenario, so you had used 2 hire dates with the same effective dates, but you force finalized one. Like, how did you do that?
We created 2 job rows where the employee was hired. One that you use to finalize the benefits that are available on date of hire, and another one where they actually use that to enroll. So.
Oh, so I guess behind the scenes that you had 2 different event classes listed on each
Correct.
of those rows. Okay.
So yeah, so the job when you save the job row, we modified the people code to insert 2 rows into the BAS activity table. One for the date of hire events, another one for the regular HR hire enrollment.
Got it. Okay.
Can I just get into this? We did something similar, but we only did 1 job row. And what we did was every hire, we have a custom process that adds a EMB, which is hire in French. So we have a hire, like you enter your hire in job, it creates a hire event. And then we have a process for every hire event. We add a EMB event, and the hire event is for like life, vacation, and etc. And the EMB event is for medical and dental, because that's the only thing they're allowed to choose in Quebec. So we did that. And then we closed the hire event. And then when we close the hire event, the EMB event becomes to prepare, and it's activated in their self-service.
Right. When you're doing this, you usually have to have multiple runs of Ben admin.
Yes, we run it twice a day.
Yeah. What I've done is done a job stream at night where you have pre-processes and post-process, and you run Ben admin 2 to 3 times, depending on what you're trying to accomplish, and do it all at night in a job stream.
And for the 31 days, we have a query. For everybody that surpasses the 31 days, we have a query. And if they surpass the 31 days, it's defaulted to just an employee benefit. So we just force it to just the basic. We have like a default value, and we force it to the default value with a query. It's our Ben admin person in the business that does that. But with the EMB, it's been great. Opens, closes automatically. We have no issues, and we've been having it for the past 6 years, I would say, 5 years. It's been a while that it's our third open enrollment, and we have open enrollment every 2 years.
Right.